Hello to everybody. This is Paul Kelly coming to you with our first MacCast for Mrs. Kelly. We're going to take her through a few questions today, talk her about her background in martial arts and how she feels about training and a few other things that you guys might not have heard of before. So we're about to just go straight through, and here she is now live with us. Hi Sam, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you. You?
Yeah, I'm very good, thanks. So I know quite a few people in Mac will know who you are, but do you want to perhaps tell everybody that's listening today who you are in the broader picture, or in the broader sense of martial art concepts?
Yeah, okay. I'm Sam Kelly. Obviously, I'm your wife. I'm a third Dan black belt in Mac, and I'm also an instructor in our Kung Fu Cubs program. Over obviously, which we run in the 3 academies as well.
I think you forgot your blue belt in Jiu-Jitsu there as well.
Oh, sorry, yeah, and I've also got a blue belt, yeah, in Jiu-Jitsu, yes, yeah.
Excellent. So, where are you based normally, Sam? What academy are you normally in?
Generally, teaching-wise, you'll see me in Dudley. As I said, me and Mr. Stanford run our Kung Fu Cubs program over in our Dudley Port Academy. But we train with the team. I train with the team at least twice a week. So generally in Halzone, but that's in the daytime. That's when I'd be around that academy. Okay,
so that would be when the whole MAC team gets together and trains specifically with me. I think a lot of our people that are listening may know that, but I'm sure a lot of our students don't realise the whole team, we come together at least twice a week and make sure that well, at the moment we have been doing 3 until this lockdown.
Yes, yeah. So we train Tuesdays, as you said, Wednesdays and Thursdays, obviously all the different arts. We're definitely, we practice what we preach. So we expect our students to train. So obviously we make sure our instructors are training as well. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, generally Tuesday and Thursdays would be, we do some kickboxing, Jun Fan, CSW. Wednesdays lately has been dedicated to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with our gi on. So yeah, we do that every week to keep our training up. Fantastic.
When did you actually start training in martial arts?
In Mac, I've been training now for 12 years. That's my first experience of actual proper martial arts. I don't think you can count boxer-size martial arts, so that was just in a gym. So no, I've never trained anywhere else. 12 years, pure Mac.
Awesome. Why did you start, Sam? What was your motivation for thinking, I need to walk into a martial arts academy somewhere and give it a go?
As I said, I used to be a member of a normal high street gym, if you like, and used to attend the classes there. I then went to Thailand on holiday, which was amazing, and I got took to see some actual Thai boxing in an arena, but they're not really arenas out there. So I went to see some and I was amazed. Men, women, how strong they looked, how powerful. So come back from Thailand, and I used to live over the Dudley Port side then. You was actually opening up the academy. I think it had been there about 6 months. And I literally just walked in and said I'd like to join. And that's really it. The rest is history. Joined, and then from there.
So 12 years is a quite a long time to dedicate yourself to something. And kind of my experience is the early part of training is about having enough motivation to develop the habit. You're 12, 13 years into your training now. Why do you still train today?
Oh, I just love it. I just love it. I love the mental and physical strength it gives you. It gives you a sense of commitment to something. stress relief. Obviously now, you know, everyone's got different pressures in their lives, home lives, work lives, different things like that. And I think to just go and punch and kick something or grapple something in a fantastic, friendly environment and community, to me, it's just something I really, really love. I love training. I'm very passionate about it. Yeah.
So, I mean, I probably know you better than most, and I know your own personal development, your own quest to be the best that you can be is very important to you. So, you know, we all know that martial arts training can be punch, kick, trap, grapple, choke, armbar, etc., etc. But for me, I've always believed that for you, it's part of it is just to be the best version of you that you can be. Would that be a fair comment?
Yeah, definitely. I think when I first joined MAC, obviously, you know, when you're a beginner, should we say, but even nowadays I'm still learning every day. Every class that I do, I feel like I learn. I try and take something in and learn from it. But when you're first starting, I think, you know, trying to learn all the different drills and that, you sometimes think to yourself, wow, there's a lot to take in. But I think I just carried on, and martial arts does help me to become the best person I do want to be. It's enlightened me with a lot of things, actually. So obviously, you know, as a martial artist, we don't have, well, I don't find in MAC we have egos. It's about whatever we learn, we share, passing it on to the community, making people feel like they can do it. If they commit and they just persevere with it, they can learn something. Some of you guys will know Carly. For me, even now, I still sometimes look at Carly, 2 sticks, and I'm like, oh, a mental block. But obviously with people's helping, especially in house zones, there's some fantastic students that will say, come on, Sam, you know, you can do it, just don't block your mind off. And now I do get drills. I'm not saying I'm perfect at them at all, but I can get the drill and I can participate in a class. So I think, you know, it does make me, martial arts massively helps me try to be the best person I can be, for me personally. Okay,
awesome. I know that I know your reference to Carly, and I know that your love for kickboxing and the physical side of things, and
yes,
you know, jiu-jitsu and, you know, grappling and so on and so forth. What are the particular milestones for you in your training? So things that you hit, that you did and you went, okay, that was important. Most people, I think, would probably say making the first goal of black belt and going from there. What other things for you kind of stuck out and made you kind of go, okay, that's important for me today. I've done something that's important for me in my life.
So obviously, like you said, the first Dan black belt is quite a big achievement. But I think a lot of people then think, well, that's it, then I've done. And it's really not. It's just a big stepping stone. It's just like a starting point, really. So you've got not the basics, but you've got a starting point to develop it even more. Milestones for me, the first one was actually to be asked to be a coach, to be recognised by some instructors that I really respected, that I respect, to say, Sam, we think you can come and coach our juniors. I mean, that was years and years ago now, but that was a massive milestone for me. And then, like you say, obviously the first Dan, then come second Dan, third Dan. They're really, really big achievements for me. I'm very, very proud of them.
What about your blue belt in jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, getting my blue belt in jiu-jitsu, which I'll talk about in a bit. but yeah, getting my blue belt in jiu-jitsu, which was really, really good. And also starting the Kung Fu Cubs program for me is a milestone. So, you know, we've got some little, our Kung Fu Cubs program is for 3 to 5 year olds. And some people are under the belief that they can't do drills and different things, but children are like sponges. So once they get shown, they pick it up, and we have so much fun. And I love how I can show them different drills with Mr. Stanford, and they pick it up. I'm just so proud. So them are probably the massive milestones for me. Yeah, what martial arts has done for me.
Okay, so some really good feedback there for the guys that are listening, because I think everybody, for some people, some weeks it can be just turning up for a class is a milestone, just getting past that you know, I'm tired, I've been to work, there's other things going on, making time for yourself. For others, it can be a drill, getting a specific drill. You mentioned Kali, and Kali is a technical art, but no more than jiu-jitsu is, or no more than, you know, depending on how deep you go into the other arts. So I think for me, almost anything can be a milestone if you're giving it credence. If you're saying, look, that was an important time for me, or that was an important drill to get, or whatever, I think that is those are the things that join your journey, are the dots that join your journey as you go along. Another question for you, Sam. Where have you trained?
I've been really fortunate to go out to LA and train with Guro Dan, which was one of the best experiences of my life. So that was amazing.
So this is at the Inosanto Academy in Marina Del Rey, yeah?
Yes, yeah, that was it. And Guro Dan come over to me and said hello, and I was like, oh, I don't know what to do. Obviously, you was there to help me. But that, yeah, so trained over in LA with Guro Dan. Also, I've been lucky enough to go over to Erik and Paulson's, the CSW.
World headquarters.
CSW.
World headquarters in
over in LA, which again was amazing, and got to meet some other instructors that I haven't actually heard of, but I know you had. So Brian Popejoy, the Muay Thai. Oh gosh, I forgot now.
So we were, just for people that are listening, I was doing some privates with Brian Popejoy, who is the chief instructor of Boxing Works in LA. He's got a couple of champions in the one championship at the moment. Awesome instructor, really nice guy. And Sam was actually filming what was going on. And as she was filming it, there's kind of a who's who of the old Jeet Kune Do, Jumfan Jeet Kune Do. People were coming in. So Tim Tackett came in, and then Cas Magda came in. So at one point I was standing having a conversation with coach Erik Paulson. I was having a conversation with Tim Tackett, Cas Magda. These are all real old school names for the guys out there who've done any research on Jeet Kune Do or on Guro Inosanto. So yes, that was an amazing time for me too. I must say.
Josh Barnett as well.
Oh yes, I'm not mentioning Josh Barnett because he really took to you and basically ignored me. But however, having said that, at one point I was in the cage in the CSW World Headquarters, kind of alongside Josh Barnett, his boxing coach, Oscar the Boxer, Ruiz, who was a top 10 world lightweight champion. Sensei Paulson was in the building. Cas Magda was in the building. Tim Tackett was in the building. Brian Popejoy was in the building. And, you know, I was kind of there in the middle of them. And I think we hadn't long come back from either visiting the Inosanto Academy and training in some of Guro Dan's classes there. So, yeah, those are kind of milestones and fantastic memories for both of us.
Definitely, yeah. I've also been lucky enough to train with Rick Young. Obviously, he's been to our academy a couple of times, but I've also had the pleasure of doing some jiu-jitsu with him and going up to Edinburgh, which is, again, amazing. Tommy Thompson, been to his been to train with him in Nottingham. Wow, is all I can say. I've just Victor Estima, Gracie, Barra, Jiu-Jitsu. I've trained also with Vanessa English there. I'm currently training with Mel Doran, who's again Gracie, Barra, Jiu-Jitsu. So I've been really fortunate to train with some fantastic people. Ben Jones from the CSW headquarters. Done some training with him as well. So yeah, been really fortunate to meet some fantastic, inspirational people. Yeah, and to train with them.
Speaking of inspiration, Sam, 12 years in, we have a very busy lifetime. All of our team do. How do you maintain your passion? What keeps it going for you?
Oh, habit.
Yeah.
I think habit is a massive one for me. I think martial arts is just so much part of my life now. I don't know, it's just there. I train. I mean, I think I train at least 4 or 5 times a week in martial arts, really. Whether that's obviously in group training with yourself, with the team, or actually in a class. So I do training classes over in Dudley. With students, because I am a student still learning all the time. What keeps me passionate?
I would probably say for you is you like to learn. You always you've kept what martial artists call the white belt mentality. You'll turn up to a class and you'll give lots of your energy to it. You'll give maximum energy. And you're there to learn. You want to learn. You managed to keep that after 12 years. You've managed to keep that openness about being the best you can be, but also keeping open-minded about being able to still learn, still grow as a martial artist. So, I think that's quite a rare gift, and that crosses over for me into other things, which leads me to my next question. How does your martial art training help you in the current climate? So at the time that we're looking at this podcast, we're in the middle of a lockdown because of COVID-19, which has obviously caused havoc across the country, across the world. So what are you pulling on from your own history as a martial artist and your own kind of training in the past 12 years that helps you deal with that type of climate?
I think in MAC and now in the Kung Fu clubs, there's a great sense of community, family, friends, a team. Obviously this past week especially, I know from myself, from the Kung Fu Comes team and also Matt's team, we've had to go to areas that are completely new to us. So some of the technology and different things is being quite challenging. But I think for me, with perseverance and the sense of the team around us and friends, we've managed to still get some of our content out to our students and out to our little clubs. So I think also you can, for me, personal training, we can still, and we're going through at the moment, like you said, this crisis, but there is still stuff that we can do at home with regards to martial arts and training. We can still practice our drills ready for when we come back to the academy. Do you know what I mean? There's still lots we can do at home to get ready, if you like.
Would you consider, staying positive as an attribute of martial arts training?
Definitely, yeah, staying positive. Also taking this time, sometimes, life is a day can just go so quick, and you can't stop and realise what you've got, if that makes sense. So sort of a bit of maybe some gratitude. Sometimes, you know, you get up, you have set routines, especially I'm saying mums out here. You have routines, and you go from one thing to a next, and just make sure sometimes everybody else is looked after, children, husbands, stuff like that, pets. I think sometimes when we're in this kind of crisis, you can take a little bit of time for yourself. Remembering, you know, what stuff, be grateful for some of the stuff that you've got, because I think in times like this, it does make you realise.
I know you mentioned the team, and you know, from my point of view, all the guys in the team have really adapted well to the conditions that we've had to move to. So working remotely, using platforms like Zoom as we are now, you know, getting used to contacting our students, the big Mac family, in a different way. And for me, I believe that the fact that, you know, martial arts is win or learn, that on the mat you do take setbacks sometimes. You can't get a drill, you don't do well in a sparring situation, or, you know, you're not feeling too good and you're not feeling how you should at the time. But I believe the continual training as a martial artist allows you then to adapt that kind of experience and hopefully feed it back into situations like this. Would you agree with that?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, there's been, I think it's perseverance, isn't it? And, you know, this won't last forever. We need, it won't. So we need to just take each day at a time, look for things to be grateful for, and look back at, you know, like you said, the stuff that I've learned in training. So, you know, the team that we've got round us, our families, our friends, the perseverance of keep on training, do you know what I mean, and the commitment to something.
Can I ask one more question, Sam, in relation to your training? If you could look back over the 12 years and you could speak to students now that are in the early stages of the training, or even having come through the training, you know, bearing in mind, you know, you have trained for a long time, you know, you are at a high level. What would be the thing that you would say to yourself, if I could share this with everybody now? This is something that I realised later on from my training, or something that I think, wow, I wish I'd have known that in the beginning, or something that you realise now that you didn't know back then about your training in martial arts.
Okay, yeah. Try every martial art that we offer. So try the Kali, try the ground. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, a lot of people love the kickboxing, but try the other couple of arts. Don't say to yourself, I can't get it, I can't do it. You know, I still do it now to myself with the Kali. But try not to say that to yourself. If you can, for me, when I pick up a Kali stick and I go into a class, I try to think to myself, right, I can do this. I'm going to take one thing from the class and try and retain it. So yeah, I would think for me it would be try all the different classes, and don't talk negatively to yourself, and don't expect so much of yourself. You know what I mean?
It's a journey, not a destination.
Yeah, definitely, it's a journey.
Totally
as I said,
totally
you know, with the jiu-jitsu now, I've currently just started. So I got my blue belt a few years ago, and then set up the Kung Fu Cups and different things. So my path, if you like, went in a different direction. So I kept up my kickboxing, the Muay Thai, the boxing, but my ground, specifically Gracie, Barra, Jiu-Jitsu, just got put to a little side for a little bit. But recently I've picked it back up. I'm actually travelling to Nottingham a couple of times a week to train with Professor Guro and Victor and Professor Estima. And even there now, there's some ladies and men who are training for competitions and different things. And when I first went up there, I did think to myself, wow, I actually don't want to compete. It's just something for me, a milestone, an achievement that I want to persevere with. And I was, the first couple of classes, I did speak a bit like, oh, I can't do this, I'm not getting any of it. But now I've completely changed. I literally go up and I'm thinking, right, it's going to be a great class. I'm going to take one thing out of this and I'm going to practice it and bring it back with me. So yeah, that's one thing I would say to students is also persevere. It takes, an achievement doesn't happen overnight in a month or 6 months. It happens, do you know what I mean? It takes time, and it's always a learning curve. And also ask your instructors if you're not sure on something, or email us, pick up the phone, ask us. We're there. We're happy to help. We want to share as much as we can with you. That's our job.
I think sometimes it might be hard for people to realise that every single one of us across the team, or coaches, instructors within MAC, we've all done the journey. That's one of the great things for me. We're sharing things with people that we pass through. So when somebody's struggling, we've all struggled. When somebody's needed a guidance from an instructor or a mentor or something like that, we've all passed through that. And I think when people are kind of new and coming into MAC, or in their early period of time of training with us, they sometimes, I think they've just got to come in, do what they're doing, and then just go out the door and hope they've got it. But all of us have gone through that process, everybody that's on the mat. And that's a great leveler for me. Whoever's teaching you, they've gone through the same process you're going through. The old saying, every black belt started as a white belt. So one last question then, Sam. Do you have a message for the MAC family who will listen to this?
Yeah. Hello. Just, at the minute we are going through a difficult time, but it's how you interpret it in your mind. So at this time, if you can't work, or you're working from home, take half an hour to just do something for yourself. Take this time to do something for yourself. Practice some of your martial art at home. A little bit of look around, and maybe just a little bit of gratitude. Maybe pick up a book, just, do you know what I mean? Something like that. And obviously we're trying to keep in touch with you. Make sure you're on our Facebook pages, YouTube. We're putting stuff up on there, and just stay in contact, because we're all one team, one family. So, and we can't wait. I can't wait anyway to get back in the academies and start teaching again. I can't wait. Yeah. Okay.
So, Sam, thank you for your time. I think hopefully people is going to find that really interesting, because they very often only see you flying around the academy or doing something with clubs, or doing something else to do with our kind of administrative side. Obviously for me as your husband, I know how hard you work, I know how hard you train, I know how passionate you are about being the best martial artist that you can be. Hopefully now some of our family and some of our other people will get a chance to listen to some of what you're saying, and maybe just get that little bit more feeling for another member of the MAC team. So thanks for speaking to us, and then we'll see you soon. And thanks for everybody for listening, if you do. And if we'll be busy in the next couple of days, there'll be more of the team to follow. But for now, thanks to Sam, and goodbye.
Thank you.